Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today for the White Christmas series featuring Tim Holtz dies. This is card number 5. Actually, this is a bonus. We get 2 cards. Since we had 2 deer on this one die, I've created 2 cards. So let's go ahead and get started. I always like to share what the die looks like, and I'll show you the item number, and the name of the die is Reindeer Flight. And we'll be doing 2 separate cards, but the same card base. And the card base that I'll be creating is called Double Dutch, and it is a fancy fold card. There's plenty of tutorials out there, but this is the way I create mine. So these are the 2 finished cards. I'll show you what they look like. This one is the flying deer, and this is how the card opens up. There's several ways to position the card, just like a swinging top fold style when you stand it up, and the 2 flaps at the bottom fold down. Just a different presentation of a card. This is the second reindeer. I've done the same type of card base, mats and embossed portion of the top, and they both stand exactly the same, and there's 2 ways of presenting the card, or not presenting, but displaying the card. So there they are, and let's go ahead and get started on assembling the card base. The size of our card base measures 9 by 4 3/16, and then we're going to score it at 5.5. You can see the score line there. And then a second piece we'll cut to fit the bottom, but first let's go ahead and fold this so you can see exactly what I'm talking about for the lower part of this card. It'll go down here at this section. So we want to cut a second piece at 8.5 by 2 and score at 2 1/8. So I've scored my card on the left side, flipped it over, and scored it on the other end at 2 1/8. So now we'll just go ahead and fold one edge, place it behind the card, because we want to make sure that it opens up and fits correctly. So we'll just do a dry fit and make sure those 2 front panels or flaps are as close as we can get them. And then just reinforce the score lines. And we'll do the other side. Okay, then we'll remove that, and next what we're going to do is add adhesive just to that center portion, leaving the 2 flaps on the side free of adhesive. Going to line that up with the edge of the card, right on my seam, flip it around, and join that left section on the front. And there we have our card base. The next step is creating a couple mats for this card, and the top flap will require one, and these are 2 of the embossing folders that I used on a couple of my mats. This dotted one, and then the swirly windy looking type. So this piece will go right on that top panel, this one here. So I just cut it slightly smaller than that top flap, adding some ATG to the back of this mat, and adhering it to my card. If you don't want to make this style of card, just a top folding card will work just as well, but just something different. Now I've cut the two mats that are going to go on that front bottom portion. They're just little pieces that I cut slightly smaller once again. And now we'll just flip it over so I can lay it flat and make sure I get it centered properly. I'm going to add this one to the other side. Adhere it down and then flip it back around to the front side. And there you have a continuous design on the top and bottom panels. Now this, you can cut this piece here, you can cut rectangle, square, oval, just any shape that you want and any size that will fit on the front of your card. So I'm just adding adhesive to the back of this panel and only to the portion that will adhere to that top flap. So you can see I left that bottom portion without adhesive. Now I've got my die cut, and I did add a couple layers of cardstock. I like to add dimension to my pieces with additional cardstock, so I probably stacked about 3 of them together, added foam tape to the back, and then I used one of my dies that reads Merry Christmas. This is it here, just something I had in my stash, and I want to tuck this right under his legs. So I'm trying to figure out where to position my greeting so that my deer will fit right above it. I can go right about there, so I'll just go ahead and peel off the backing from my foam tape. I wanted to angle this deer where it looked like it was flying, so that's why I'm positioning it at an angle. Now I can take my Merry Christmas die cut and add liquid adhesive to the back. I prefer to use liquid adhesive as it gives you a little bit of wiggle room when you lay it down on your card if you don't get it positioned just right. If you use your ATG or tape runner of some sort, once it's down, it's difficult to remove it. So now let's just use my handy dandy tweezers and angle this right under the deer. So pretty. Perfect. I've created a single loop bow with some satin ribbon. Added a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back since I don't have my glue gun handy, but this, once this dries, this will be permanent. My bow's tails are just a little long, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my ribbon scissors and trim off just a little on each end. I want to be able to see his legs. Since we have so much going on the front, I want to balance out the card with a little bit more weight on the inside. So I've cut a mat just slightly smaller than the inside, adding some ATG tape, and then adding my mat. Gives it a nice clean look. So cute. Now I've created a second base, exactly the same procedure that we just did, and I'm taking my second deer, and this is what the card looks like. So I've already die cut it with about 3 layers, added foam tape to the back, and now just peeling off the release paper. And I'm going to figure out where to place my Merry Christmas, the same die cut as I added to the first card. But this one's going to just hang slightly on that top panel. And I want this deer to sit right above that Mary. Let's add some liquid adhesive to the back. As you add adhesive, just keep in mind that some of the letters will be hanging past that center mat, and you won't need glue on those pieces. So just make sure that you're adding it in the proper areas. There you can get a better look at some of the letters that are past that top panel. Just tucking it under its leg a little bit, and this loop right on that section, and just straightening it out. And there we have our Merry Christmas adhered. And I'm going to add the liquid glue to my bow, add it to its neck as a finishing touch. And there we go, our 2 cards with 1 die, beautiful Christmas cards. If you have any questions on this tutorial, just leave a comment down below. If you are enjoying my series, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And next I'll give you a close-up of the 2 cards I created. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.